If you're thinking about moving to Raleigh, North Carolina, but you're not quite familiar with the area, then in today's video, we're going to be breaking down every single suburb and how it all interconnects, the different commute times, different lifestyles, housing prices, everything you need to know so that if you do move to Raleigh, you know exactly where you want to live and make home. Hi, my name is Benjamin Carver. I'm a real estate agent and investor here in the area. I moved myself from Dallas a while ago, and I've been exactly in your shoes. So I know what it's like to move to an unfamiliar place, be in the research phase. It's a little overwhelming, especially if you look on the map. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. So what I have highlighted right here is Wake County, and this is one of the largest counties in the US, and it covers all of Raleigh and then some. It's going to cover pretty much all the suburbs that we're going to talk about today. So let's go ahead and zoom in here, and we're going to start with central Raleigh. This is where our downtown is, here in the center here. We are inside what's called the Inner Belt. That is this loop right here that's comprised of 440 and 40 on the south side. And this is where we see a lot of our older historic homes. We have some really wealthy neighborhoods up here in 5 Points, University Park. There's a Trader Joe's and a nice shopping center right up in here underneath 440. And then down here on the west, you can see we have North Carolina State University, one of our many universities here in the Triangle. So we see a lot of kids and young people around these parts and student housing. We have Pullen Park right here, which is a great park for hanging out with your kids. As you can see here, it is the 5th oldest amusement park in the US, and it's just really a cool experience right by downtown. And then we have the State Farmers Market right here. They're open every day of the year, and you can go get some fresh produce. It's a really cool experience. And up here we have Dix Park, which takes up this whole section right here with a bunch of trailheads. They throw a bunch of events and like movie nights even at Dix Park. That's a really cool place to go bring your dog, bring a Frisbee. Now, if you want to go walk downtown, we're actually gonna go ahead and pull up a street view on that. So this is our downtown. We do have kind of some sky rises. We have some really cute coffee shops and restaurants. Definitely a nice urban vibe. On the weekends and nights, you can usually get free parking, whether you're in the garage or on the street, which is super great. And at the center of downtown, we have what's called Moore Square. So we get a lot of food trucks pulling up here. Just a nice park with a lot of tree coverage where people can go for a walk. So if you work in the city, then that's a nice place to hang out and go have lunch, meeting up with some friends. And there's a lot of cool restaurants in the area. I recommend that you check out the Pit Barbecue. Super great place, and you can usually pull up right on the right side of the street there and park right in front of the building. Another place I recommend you check out is the Morgan Street Food Hall. This is a really cool dining center with a bunch of different restaurants. You can get coffee there, hang out with some friends. Always super lively, and it's just such a good time in the heart of Raleigh. I definitely recommend you check it out. And like I said, the city's super walkable. We have bike lanes spread throughout. We have bike rentals practically on every corner, making it super easy to just explore the area. Compared to other cities, it may not be the largest downtown, but this is only the beginning. We have other downtowns and other shopping centers to check out later in the video. Now, these red lines show the actual city limits of Raleigh. You'll notice that beyond the inner belt, it doesn't really expand much east, west, south, but it does take up this whole north portion. So a lot of times you'll hear people say, I live in Raleigh or North Raleigh. We work out of Northwest Raleigh. This is also where I live and invest up in this portion. And what I love about Northwest Raleigh is that you are right by the airport. It is right there. So if you live kind of in this general area, it is a straight shot, 5-10 minute drive, 15 max to the airport. And right past the airport is our RTP. This is the Research Triangle Park. It is a massive supplier of working professionals. It attracts researchers from across the world. It is the largest of its kind in the US, and it's central to Raleigh-Durham, right by that airport. And so personally, I like to buy and invest within 10-15 minutes of this area because it is so hot, it tends to get the best appreciation, and this is just where everybody wants to be. So Northwest Raleigh is a great area where you can be really close to all those important things, still get relatively affordable housing, and be a straight shot into downtown Raleigh when you want to go have a night out. Heading west right by the airport, we have Umstead State Park. And Umstead is not only a state park, it also is the host of the Umstead Hotel and Spa. It's actually a world-class hotel that plenty of celebrities have stayed at. Super cool experience if you get the chance to do so. But Umstead State Park is my favorite place to go within Raleigh. It is an absolutely gorgeous place with endless trails to get lost on and lakes to look at. You can go fishing, you can go kayaking, you can go camping. I'm going to show you some of the photos that people have taken. Here is an example of what it could look like. And this is not peak season fall. This is a little before or a little after. Absolutely gorgeous spot. I try to go up there once a weekend with my wife and go for a walk or a picnic. Highly recommend it. And so I really like this kind of pocket right here because you quite literally are a few minutes from the airport. You're right by a state park, so it's just gonna be so forested and just naturally beautiful. And there's some really affordable housing in here, especially townhomes. So there's a lot of 3-4 bedroom townhomes and some 2s if you're looking for more of a starter home, kind of in this area right here, as low as $275 up to $450, $500 if you're getting into the really nice 3-story townhomes with 5 bedrooms and 2,700 square feet of living space. But there's a lot of different ranges of housing options right in this area here. And that is an area that I definitely recommend, especially if you need to be close to the airport. Now, another place that I recommend if you really want to be close to the airport is Briar Creek. We find the Briar Creek Commons, and this is a large, very large shopping center with everything that you'd ever want. And if you're checking out the area and you need a hotel right by the airport, you could just stay here at the Hampton Inns. There's a few other hotels there as well, and that will give you a really good experience. But whether you're looking for an apartment, you're looking for a house, because this subdivision over here, so it's actually like the #1 place that I recommend for young professionals, singles, but really just for everyone in general. This is a super, super hot area that has just grown tremendously over the past few years. And I would highly recommend taking a drive through these neighborhoods and checking out the area. Now, heading back into North and Northwest Raleigh, in general, homes on this west and straight up north side tend to go higher than the homes on this east side. When we're heading in this general area right here, we're looking at single family homes detached that are averaging probably $500K. There are townhomes sprinkled throughout, which are a really great option for a starter home if you want to be in this area, which I highly recommend. And then as we head more east, over here, getting closer to Capitol Boulevard, which is another main road in our city, generally the prices tend to go down as you get closer to this area. You might be able to find that same house that was $500K on the west side for $400 or $450K over on the east side. You'll notice there's a nice big North Ridge Country Club. This is an example of one of those pockets that has million-dollar homes surrounding by it, new construction. One trend that we're seeing in North Raleigh and in Central Raleigh as well is a lot of tear downs in older established neighborhoods where they take, the smallest of the lot and they build it into this mega $2-3 million home. New construction in general in Raleigh is heading to the outskirts and those outer suburbs that we're going to cover later in the video. So if you want something that's brand new, that's in the heart of Raleigh or very close to it. Now, while we're in this north section, it's very important that I point out North Hills, which is right above the inner belt in this area here. This is the second hottest area that I recommend for singles, young professionals, people who want to be where the action is, where the shopping is. This is what we call Raleigh's second downtown. And I'll put some B-roll up on the screen. This is Raleigh's newest downtown, and frankly, a lot of people prefer it over the original downtown Raleigh. It has a lot of the skyrises and businesses and shopping centers and apartments, luxury apartments. Now this area is expensive, so you will be paying a high premium to live in North Hills. But if you wanted to head a little west, a little north, you can start to see houses that are a little more on the affordable side where you're still really close to all the shopping and everything that you want to do. You'll notice when looking at the map that there are bodies of water sprinkled throughout Raleigh, and that is one thing that I absolutely love about this city. Not only is it so green, but there's just so many bodies of water where you can go for a swim or for a walk or kayak, whatever you want to do. Two main lakes that we have in North Raleigh is Lake Shelley and Lake Lynn. Now I'm right by Lake Lynn. I can drive there in about 3 minutes and it's beautiful. You could walk around the entire lake. Might take you about 30-45 minutes depending on how your speed is. Now if we zoom in a little bit here, On this north side, we see Six Forks. Six Forks is another super hot area of our market. There's a Whole Foods here, which if you know anything about Whole Foods, kind of tells you something about the area. This is an up and coming area that people like. It's gonna have maybe more bougie restaurants, bougie shopping, and this is where we start to get really close to the outer belt. That is this 540 loop. When we zoom out, it's this half moon, which by the way, they are completing. Eventually, it is going to run all the way underneath, connecting all these lower suburbs that we're going to talk about later, completing the outer belt. Super important for our traffic and for how people transport, commute. But for now, when you hit 540, when you go above 540, you start to get into larger lot sizes. You also start to get into definitely higher house prices as well. Why? Well, because of the larger lots, because it's a little more secluded, you get a lot of more custom homes, but you also start to get closer to the lake as well. And generally when you're close to a lake, especially near a big city, people tend to pay more for it. There's not as much inventory up there. It's definitely a coveted area, but you are going to be a little further from downtown. Granted, if you're closer to that 540, then you do have a straight shot into the airport and RTP. If you are kind of out here in the middle, especially over here or here, then you're gonna have to take one of these service roads to get to a main interstate, and that can add a significant amount of time to your commute. Now this is Falls Lake. This is one of the main big ones that we have in the triangle, and this is just a part of the lake. If you follow it up here to the northwest, we're gonna see all sorts of parks pop up, the main recreational area, we have campgrounds, endless things to do. If you're gonna be visiting, hanging out for the day or weekend, definitely check out Falls Lake. There's some amazing, beautiful hikes along the lake, including the Mountain to Sea Trail. So this is a trail that starts all the way in the mountains and runs all the way to the ocean. It is extremely long, and I can't believe that there's people who actually trek this every single year. But you can kind of hop on there, walk it for a little bit, turn around, head back to the car, and say that you conquered the Mountain to Sea Trail. Now, once you head over to the north side of the lake in Wake County, you'll see some smaller towns. You're gonna feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. And because of that, the homes that pop up on this north side will be more affordable than on the south side. Now, if you wanna be near the lake, but you want a lot of shopping, you want convenient location, then you head over into this Wake Forest area right here. And Wake Forest, it actually was named after a college that was stationed there, a university that ended up moving to another part of the state. It was Wake Forest University, which they still go by that name. Now, this is a very built out suburb. It's one of our larger suburbs in the Triangle, and I'm a big fan of it. What you will find here are some older homes with much more affordable price tags. You find some new construction townhomes and single family houses, so you really have a good mixed bag here. You'll have communities with HOAs, but you'll also have communities that don't have it if you don't want an HOA, which is hard to find in the city. Wake Forest is the definition of suburban living, so it's definitely more laid back. It's not urban, there's no city vibe, but they have a lot of shopping centers sprinkled throughout Wake Forest that still make it a convenient place to live. You can get everything you need in Wake Forest and not feel like you're missing out and have to drive into Raleigh for stuff. Over here by Jones Dairy Farm and Heritage, those are some really good communities, and we're seeing some new construction kind of pop up on these outer skirts here. And if we head over here to Falls River, Bedford at Falls River, this is a great spot that I highly recommend if you're looking for a property that's right by the lake but doesn't cost a fortune. Then this is a really cool area. There's also a reserve nature park right here, which is super beautiful. I've walked it several times and it's just such a fun little spot. There's also a recreational area here and plenty of trails that you could hop on. Downtown Wake Forest is super cute, laid back. There's a lot of historic homes. Definitely a cool experience. And then if you head west and you want some shopping, then there's a Target over here. There's a great community, Crenshaw Hall Plantation, and Home Depot, Chick-fil-A, all the main things that you're probably looking for. Now looking north of Wake Forest, we have Youngsville. And Youngsville is the newer cousin to Wake Forest. They're kind of separated by about 10 minutes right now. And Youngsville is very small, but it won't always be that way. There are a lot of new construction in Youngsville popping up with half-acre lots, even acre lots in some subdivisions. And Youngsville will drop in price range by about 50K to sometimes 100K depending on what you're looking for, but you will feel extremely far removed from everything. Now, the good news is you can head into Wake Forest from Youngsville and get everything you need, but if you ever have to go to RTP or the airport, it's gonna feel like quite the drive. Moving south of Wake Forest, we have Rolesville. Rolesville is also like Youngsville, it's super small, there's a lot of new construction going on, and your money goes a lot further. But with Rolesville, you're gonna see some older homes too, and you actually have But with Rolesville, what I specifically like is that you are extremely close to 401, which is going to take you into the belt, so you can actually access everything a lot quicker than you can in Youngsville. And it kind of blends in with Wake Forest. So there's a lot of communities between Wake Forest and Rolesville for you to choose from, including a lot of new construction communities tend to pop up in this area right here. And fun fact, Rolesville is actually the fastest growing suburb in the Raleigh area. I'm gonna make a video about that soon, but it's grown 40% over the last 3 years, which is absolutely insane. And I really like this area above here. You see it's called Noose. So even though Noose isn't technically a suburb or a city or anything like that, Noose is kind of a neighborhood, an area of Raleigh that has a lot of older homes, a lot of which do need some updating, but you can get them at extremely affordable prices. So you could find a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house detached, and it might be $350K, where some townhomes are above $400K in the heart of Raleigh. So you can find some really affordable housing in some nice areas in this Noose area, and you're right by all the shopping, and you're still a straight shot on 540 from RTP and airport. I highly recommend checking out Noose if you're looking for more of a starter home. Now, when you get close to the Y right in this area, we're gonna see pretty old homes, kind of like we did up in Noose, a lot of them needing fixed up. And so it just depends on what you're looking for. But if you go a little bit more to the east in this area, we are starting to see a few new construction communities pop up there as well, super affordably, and that might be a place that you definitely want to check out. Now, right below that is Knightdale, this kind of area right here. So Knightdale is very similar to Garner. It's not as large as Garner, and it's just slightly further away from downtown than Garner is. But I've always been very pleasantly surprised with the housing inventory in Knightdale. It's about the same price as Garner, but I personally feel like your money goes a little further. The houses there are a little bit larger. You might get a little more lot size than you would in Garner. Due to its size, it does only have one shopping center, and it's in the heart of Knightdale. So you're going to find that has the Target, the Home Depot, the Chick-fil-A, which apparently are staples here in our market no matter where you go. Has a Walmart, Lowe's, and some other businesses. That's enough that you really wouldn't feel the need to go into Raleigh. If you're just looking for the basic shopping, restaurant, and amenities, then you will find it in Knightdale, and plenty of people like it because it's more down to earth, it's more affordable, and again, it's still pretty close to the city. Now, if we keep heading east, we have 2 more suburbs to cover. So first on our right is going to be Wendell, and Wendell is an up-and-coming suburb, and it's one of, again, the fastest growing suburbs in the area. It's grown about 25% over the past few years, and it is a haven for new construction. So just recently I had clients buy a 3-2 beautiful brand new construction house with amenities and everything, gorgeous trails that take you into Old Town Wendell, and they got it for $302,000. And it was a decent sized house with a garage. It's extremely impressive how far your money goes in Wendell, and you're still only 20-25 minutes from downtown, and you're getting closer to 40-45 minutes from the airport. So that is the one downside. I'd say once you go as far as Wendell and to the next suburb we're going to cover, you might want to consider remote working. In that case, my clients are remote workers, so it worked out just perfectly for them. Now, moving on to the most east suburb that we're going to cover today is Zebulon, and I really like that name. It just sounds cool. But Zebulon is a lot like Wendell, except for it's smaller because it's even further out from the city. Again, new construction is a really big thing here. So you're going to see a lot of older houses, and it's going to start to get really rural. You're going to see, a lot of land, and new construction with large lots are very, very popular in Zebulon. And again, the argument to be made is, again, one of the fastest growing suburbs. So you buy into it now while it's affordable, and over time watch as it grows into a nice big suburb. For now, it definitely feels like a small town. You're gonna feel like you're more out in the middle of nowhere, so that has to be something that you're okay with. But I definitely am not hating on Zebulon. I think that there are a lot of people who would be very, very happy here. And when you go southeast Raleigh, just south of Knightdale, you'll find that the area is very, very similar to Knightdale. So you are seeing some new construction communities pop up. There's actually a lot of townhomes that they're putting in the mid threes over in this area that I definitely would recommend you check out if you're looking for a townhome at a good price. And it's also on the Neuse River Trail. So you could hop on this with your bike, or if you're into jogging, or go for a nice walk along the river and follow it throughout the city for as far as you want to go. A lot of people do that. We always see people outside, and Raleigh is a very active city, and that's one thing that I really, really love about it. Now, we're talking about suburbs within Wake County, but I mentioned Youngsville, I mentioned South Durham, so I have to mention Clayton. Clayton is one of the top Raleigh suburbs that families love, retirees love, but anyone looking for affordable housing also will love. Now, you'll notice here that it's about 10 minutes or so from Garner, and remember that east side of Garner, near Auburn, is actually where a lot of the new construction is, where the new businesses are. It's the nicer, newer part of Garner. And so you're pretty close to that here in Clayton. Here, you're about 30 minutes from downtown and about 45 from the airport, so we are a little bit far out compared to Garner. But Clayton has a lot to offer, and it's a pretty well built out suburb at this point. But when we look to the east side of Clayton, we find Flowers. You might see it called Flowers Plantation, and this is one of the hottest subdivisions in Clayton. I just recently sold a house here in the mid threes, almost new construction with upgrades. This community is absolutely beautiful, and it almost feels like a town of itself. I've heard amazing things about the schools here in Clayton. Certainly worth a look if you're wanting new construction with affordable pricing. All right, it's time that we make our way to the west side of the map. We haven't spent much time over there yet, but we're getting into that now. By the way, guys, if you're finding value, make sure you subscribe for more living in Raleigh. And if you want help finding a house in the Raleigh area, then make sure you call the number below, or you can click the consultation link in the description, and we'll set up a call and answer your questions today. Now, looking just west of Raleigh, past North Carolina State University, we have Cary. And you've probably heard of Cary, but if not, it is one of the more prominent suburbs, one of the more wealthy suburbs of the Raleigh and just the Triangle area in general. A lot of people are moving to Cary and the surrounding areas because it is so close, and you'll see here on the map, to the airport, and it's extremely close to RTP. So if you're feeling kind of bougie, you're looking for a nice dining experience, or the best shopping centers, best of the best, you're gonna find it in this general area here. People are willing to pay a premium to live close to the airport, close to RTP. This is a highly coveted area, and in a market where post-COVID, things have slowed down some for us, even though we're experiencing a lot of growth still. Cary and Morrisville, these two suburbs are still getting over asking on a lot of their houses. The houses are still going within a week, over a week in a lot of cases. So this area also tends to get the best appreciation because it's so desirable, and that will not be changing for the foreseeable future. Now, Cary is actually our largest suburb of Raleigh, so we're going to break it down a little bit more in detail here. Now, in this little bubble right here, sandwiched directly between Raleigh and Cary, is the PNC Arena, and this is where we have the Hurricanes, an NHL hockey team. They're really good. They put on games here all the time. It's only like 8 minutes from my house, a straight shot, and it's actually just a really cool stadium. You can park sometimes for free if you get there early enough, and there's a nice little trail under a bridge with a bunch of trees that takes you straight to the stadium. Super walkable area, really nice upscale apartments nearby, and it's just such a fun time, and you can get tickets for relatively affordable prices. And you'll notice right south of that is a state fairgrounds campground, so this is where we have the state fair. Raleigh is the state's capital, and so we host the state fair every single year, which is always a fun time, and there's other events that they'll host there as well. One of our larger soccer parks are also found right here, and what you'll find throughout most of Cary is that there's a lot of parks, a lot of lakes and trails. They put a lot of emphasis on being active, and when you drive through the neighborhoods, you'll see that everyone's out walking their dogs and hanging out, and it's just really, really cool to see. Now, Cary is known for many things. It's definitely known for amazing schools, and Wake County in general has incredible schools, so no matter where you are in Wake County, you're covered. But the schools on the west side a lot of times tend to be better in rankings, and Cary is known for having really good private schools. So for example, we have north here, Cary Academy is one of the elite private schools that parents love sending their kids to. This is just one of the many throughout Cary, so do your own research. I will link to a video that I made on private schools in the Raleigh area, kind of ranking them and everything. But that's just something that you should know if you have kids. So from there, we can go ahead and head north, and you'll notice we are just south of the airport in Umstead State Park. So you're just backing up against that super convenient location. And in this little spot here over by that Umstead Hotel that we talked about, we have some shopping, we have some hotels, and then we have Lake Crabtree, which is another beautiful, gorgeous lake with endless trails, and it's actually like 3 or 4 times the size of the lakes in North Raleigh that we looked at. It has this beautiful park attached to it. Locals absolutely love to head over here when they can. And right past that is where you actually would enter the airport from the south side. So again, extremely convenient. Now this area right here, Mooresville. So Mooresville is a very small suburb that's attached to Cary. You could honestly lump some of them in together, but they are separate suburbs. And so there is a lot of shopping and dining in this area. It's kind of the similar vibe of Briar Creek, just on the other side of the airport. And we actually do have a Top Golf here as well. But we have all sorts of hotels. We have Fidelity Investments corporate office right here if you did work for Fidelity, which I only bring that up because a lot of people here work for Fidelity. They have headquarters here, and so North Carolina in general has a lot of people in the financial industry. And taking a little bit of a zoom out here, you can see that this pocket right here has you right dead smack in the middle of the Research Triangle Park, right next door to the airport. So it can't get any more convenient than this, and you will pay a big premium to live in this area. I've seen a lot of townhomes in the 5s and 6s even in this area, so you need to have that expectation going into it. But if you want to be really, really close to RTP, then I highly recommend checking this out. And we're not going to get into Durham in this video, but this south part of Durham right here is also right by Research Triangle Park. It's a little more affordable, little larger houses, and it's equally close. So if, Kitts Creek isn't going to work for you, then you might want to check out South Durham over here, over by South Point. So now we're going to head more south into the heart of Cary, and there's a lot to point out, so I'll kind of give you the highlights. On the west side, you have Jordan Lake, and this is, again, one of our large lakes in the area. So if you're in Cary, you're super, super close to that lake, which is really awesome if you love hitting up the lake, which who doesn't? One area that I really love in Cary, a lot of people do, is this Carpenter Village right here. So I've actually made a video on that, and I'll put that above as well. But they have such a large range of housing options on a private lake with a bunch of resort-style amenities. They have townhomes, they have apartments, they have on-site dining and shopping. It's a really, really cool experience in the heart of Cary, and you're within 5-10 minutes of all the grocery shopping and things to do that you could ever want. Another part of Cary that people really love just south of that is Preston. Preston Village is one of the more well-known neighborhoods in Cary, home of the Prestonwood Country Club. And you can see just how large this country club is. And then you have nearby shopping like your Trader Joe's and everything that you'd expect from Cary. And when we head east, even deeper into the heart of Cary, we have the new downtown Cary Park. And this was just recently renovated. I'll throw some B-roll up on the screen, but it is absolutely gorgeous what they've done with the area. It is so cool. Your kiddos are gonna love it. You're gonna love it. There is so much to do here. It's just so beautiful. You can go and take a walk and hang out and view the architecture and all the interesting things that they've done here. So I highly recommend that if you're checking out the area. And then finally, the south portion of Cary, if you head down here into Lockmere, this is one of, if not the best neighborhoods in Raleigh. People will pay so much to live here because it is just such a beautiful place. It has WakeMed Cary Hospital there right by the community, right with the shopping. It has the Lockmere Golf Club. It has a lake right in the center of it. It is such a beautiful area. It's actually one that my clients just recently moved into, and they could not be more excited. It is so highly coveted. So when a home does pop up there, you want to pounce on it. If you're interested in moving to Cary, Lockmere is what you want to check out. And just south of Lockmere is the Hemlock Bluffs Nature Preserve, which is a beautiful nature preserve that you can walk through, and you can pretty much walk to it from Lockmere if you wanted to, or take a bike ride there. And so if you got kiddos, again, or if you like having that active lifestyle, having a nature preserve right by you is really, really cool. So just south of Mooresville and Cary, we have these two suburbs, Apex and Holly Springs. So what's going on with these two? It just comes down to land. If you want your money to go a little bit further, if you want to have a little more space, because some people have complained that Cary is so built out and so coveted that not only is it super competitive, but it's starting to get a little tight. And so if you want more space, you head down to Apex. That's probably the first place that you're gonna hit. If you're on the west side of Apex, you're really close to the lake, and a lot of people like that. You can see some new construction and get a little bit more land. Now in the heart of Apex, it's starting to get a little more like Cary. It's all starting to blend in just a little bit. And that's why people would head down to Holly Springs. Now Holly Springs, it starts to feel less like a city and more like a town. And that's not always a bad thing. Sunset Ridge, for example, is right on Sunset Lake, and it just sounds as beautiful as it is. It's a resort style master plan community with all the amenities you'd ever need, and a golf range, racket club, swim club. It has everything that you want right by the heart of Holly Springs, and the average price for Holly Springs is a good 20 to 40K less from Apex, and especially from Cary Mooresville area. So your money really does go a lot further down here, and you're still a straight shot into Cary where you can get all your needs taken care of. Just south of Holly Springs, this is Fuquay Varina. Fuquay Varina used to be two different cities, Fuquay and Varina, and they got large enough that they decided to combine them some time ago. And so part of that city is going to be not Wake County, it's going to be Harnett County, and the other part will be actual Wake County. And so you have to be careful of that, because if you're going into a public school and you want Wake County school systems, which do tend to rank better, then you're going to want to be more on that north side of Fuquay Varina within Wake County. Just something to keep in mind. Now this would probably be reaching the point where you're a good 45 minutes from the airport with traffic, about the same from downtown. So now we're getting back into, well, that's a long commute. So maybe you're a remote worker, maybe you're retired and going for new construction, because Fuquay Varina has a lot of new construction, especially on the south side, which does take you even further from the city and everything else. Now, there is a fair amount of shopping within Fuquay Varina. Nothing fancy. You'll have your Walmart and your Harris Teeter, and then you'll have some restaurants like the Aviator Brewing Tap House. Now, what I want to say about Fuquay Varina, but also Apex, is that this is kind of Raleigh's central hub for craft beer. So if that's your thing, then you'll definitely be pleased with the selection out here in Fuquay Varina. Now, what's going on to the east between Fuquay Varina and Clayton? Well, to be honest, right now, there is not a lot going on. If you want a large house on a good plot of land, maybe you find a small subdivision with new construction, or maybe you want a house that's not in an HOA, then your best bet is to be out here. But what I will say is, as soon as you go south of Garner into this general area, there is nothing going on. There's no restaurants, there's no dining, there's a few gas stations. You are going to have to go into Fuquay or into Clayton, or make your way up into Garner/Raleigh in order to, do your shopping and hang out with friends and whatever the case may be. So this is the best place if you really want to have a homestead or farmland, or you're retiring, and whatever the case may be. You just need to understand that, at least for right now, there isn't a whole lot going on in this section of Raleigh. And so it's just gonna feel a little bare. Not that there's anything wrong with a slower pace of living. Totally get it if that's your thing. Another kind of dead spot on the map is the southwest portion of Raleigh. So we have some lakes and some golf courses going on in that area. And then we have a lot of green space. We don't see a lot of real estate activity here. We see some preserves and some parks popping up, a lot of greenery. And then when you finally head south enough, you hit Lake Wheeler, yet another lake in the Raleigh area. Your best bet at housing, if you're looking at this part of the map, would be kind of in this section right here. and it tends to be pretty affordable. We actually see a lot of our condos that pop up on the market kind of in this area, and you can find condos for as low as $200,000 that need a lot of work and are only 500 square feet. And also we're getting close enough to North Carolina State University that you also get some student housing right up at the tip top right there. Whew. Well, now that I can catch my breath, I think I have actually covered pretty much the entire Wake County, Raleigh, all of its suburbs. I hope I've given you a pretty fair breakdown of the Raleigh area. If there's anything that I missed, then you make sure to let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer any of your questions. And if you want to learn more about living in Raleigh, or you're ready to make a move here, then call the number below or click the link in the description. I'd absolutely love to meet you and your family. Now, for more living in Raleigh, make sure you watch one of these videos next. We'll see you there.